How's it going, YouTube? In this video we have myself playing Lilith Loop against Red Hybrid. I've never really played Lilith Loop before, but as the format has been extended due to the delay, I figured we'd try some new stuff. And I played against a friend who kept hitting me with the Eyesmon technology, and I was like, man, Eyesmon package is kind of broken, let's try that. So we start off with the Eyesmon hard play, which is honestly fine. The fact that Eyesmon only costs 4 memory is kind of crazy to me. It's such a strong card, and you know, we play a low rookie count, you have to just sometimes play Eyesmon for 4, but that's good enough. Our opponent had pretty good setup though, that turn 1, setting up the Digimon with the analog already. I mean that he's pretty set up to go. We do the draw 3, discard 1, having 1 Eyesmon to summon, which is pretty good. And Nidhogg is absolutely crazy. In my opinion, Nidhogg is super broken. You guys let me know if you think Nidhogg is balanced or not. I don't think he is. So just kind of go wide. I think it's a bit aggressive. Like, we can do Lilith shenanigans, but really my idea was just like, let's just abuse the Eyesmon package while we can. So we try and memory choke him right, put him to 1. I like the little Mimi a lot, but you know, he's got the full combo. So you swing, going to the Ancient Gray. It's gonna be checking for 3, couple Eyesmons in there. Then end of turn, he's gonna do the analog. He gets to play stuff from the Ancient on the Leashon, hatch again, which is really powerful because you know, you check for 3, and then you're set up next turn to check again since you're gonna hatch again. And you know, you get the burn in, which you can like blitz. Really strong combo raw, like super powerful stuff. It's Red Hybrid doing red things. Like when Red Hybrid is winning games, like this is exactly what we're doing. And sometimes it's as early as like this is his turn 2, right? So he's at 0. Only one of the Flames can attack, and I only have 2 security. Already pretty scary for me. The Lilith deck is pretty quick. With the Eyesmon package, you can fill up your trash and filter to your deck relatively quickly. But still, come on, this is like turn 2, right? He tries to go into the Emperor, but I let him know that the Takira was played this turn, so it would, you know, like having Blitz doesn't give you rush. You still can't attack. So he's like, oh yeah, I won't do that, which is fine, you know. In a like small local like this, like it is tournament, but like it's pretty chill, you know. It's not that serious. Like let him take it back. It's totally cool. Like he wasn't aware. He does have a blaster to clear my full board, which is really strong play. Even tapping a Mimi to get a bit of extra memory means that I really don't have anything else to do. Next turn he's got a bunch of swings. We know he has the Emperor, of course, and that's gonna be a quick game 1 going to Red Hybrid. So like I said, when Red Hybrid succeeds, it's doing things like that, right? The Promo Agony letting you warp into the Ancient, super powerful, you know. 3 checks is nothing to laugh at. But really it's the fact that you get the on the Leashon stuff to, you know, like he did when you have the Flame on to let you play Takuya, and then you play a hybrid from the Ancient Gray. Super powerful stuff. And with the analog, you can tap it, continue your turn, and get a hatch for even more aggression. So really strong stuff. That said though, overall, I don't like red too much in general. I don't think it's too good. Like, even if your deck could do that, I don't think that alone makes you a good deck. And when the Red Hybrid deck isn't doing that, I don't know. Like, I'm a fan of just building a legit Ancient Gray, but I don't know. I'm not trying to hate too much. Red is just not a color for me, at least not with the current decks. But I know some people love Red Hybrid, so, you know, it was cool that we got to see a full combo. We're going to go second. He doesn't have a rookie, but he does have a Takuya. We go Ghast in the back. One thing that I learned about playing Lilith Loop is, like, this deck is very complicated. Like, of course, everybody knows that. But it's one thing to, you know, see someone else playing it, and it's another thing to play it yourself. And there's so many different lines of plays you can take with the deck. There's not always, like, one correct option. Here at the shop, this is nowhere. We have Tristan, who got top 16 at Digifus Miami, you know, with Lilith Loop. And he was watching some of our games, and he's like, oh, you could do this, you could do that. And it's like, he's a much more experienced Lilith player than I am. But there's just so many different things you could do with Lilith, like, it's pretty crazy. My build had one on Eyesmon. It never did anything. I just thought it was cool. But no, I would cut it. It didn't do anything. Once again, we discard Nidhogg to get a memory, and then we can play the Eyesmon to memory choke him. You can see, like, my deck is pretty aggressive. We're trying to just get a bunch of chip damage. And the deck is really good at getting extra hits out of nowhere. Eyesmon dies. So we get the draw 3, discard 2. And, like, anytime you discard a Nidhogg or an Eyesmon, it just feels so broken, right? Like, you just get such stuff for free while also going through your deck. This game I opened triple Nidhogg, which is absolutely insane, like actually crazy. My Digimon dies, I draw 3, and I get to gain 2 memory. Then I play a Mat to memory choke him, and then take the Eyesmon back. So we have, extra cycle to go over the Gabumon next turn. So you can see, like in this game, we're just memory choking him constantly by abusing the Nidhogg, and then getting a bunch of chip damage in, knowing that later on we can get free hits relatively easy. He double checks a Deathclaw, can take out a Pokemon. Our deck plays quite a bit of Deathclaws. Sets with Takuya. Honestly, it's not a bad spot for him to be at. He's got the Aldamon, Takuya, and then Rookie in the back. Like, all in all, a pretty solid turn. But we have shenanigans. So in this case, the Eyesmon survives, which, usually would be pretty good. But we have Colin. We could take back double Nidhogg, which is insane. Because now, hey, guess what happens? We draw 3, and I can discard 2 Nidhoggs and gain 2 memory. Like, is that not a broken combo? That's pretty broken, right? So we get to play an Eyesmon, get a Nidhogg, then we can draw 2, discard 1, and hey, we know we have another Nidhogg, so why not discard that, gain the memory back, and another Nidhogg, bro. Actually crazy. Just watching this makes me like, bro, this isn't fair, right? Like when Lilith pops off, it feels unfair, right? Going to the dog, and then the mode change, we can again draw 2, this card. Like, look at how many cards we've gone through our deck. At this point, you draw so many cards, it's like you have these key cards. We're gonna actually punch away this Aldamon because the Rush Thug is 9,000. And then trying to see how many cards we have in trash so that we can do Jack Raid shenanigans. And go into a Lilith. So with this play, we can memory choke him, only give him 2 to work with. And then we have Lilith set up. Not taking any unnecessary risks or swings with the Gassimon. At this point, he doesn't really have too much. I don't think there's much that I could lose to. And even if you like Emperors over the Lilith, based on everything else that we have, I think that we would be in a good spot to win the game, was the idea. He didn't have enough hybrids. Hits into a Jack Raid, which is just terrible for him. And yeah, that's going to be the game. So I think this game was a good example of like, we saw Red Hybrid do its thing very quickly. And then this is like Lilith doing its thing very, very quickly, right? Like, I think that might have been turn 2 or turn 3 for me, but like, just by cycling through the Eyesmons, even if we had to hard play it, it costs 4, which is pretty cheap. We're able to memory choke him, and then to draw this card is insane. Like, honestly, the plays aren't too fancy. Like, I'm just discarding the cards that give you effects, right? Like, you discard Nato, you get a memory, super good. Discard Eyesmon, it plays for free. Like, how can you say no to that, right? And then, the Cerberus package is pretty good. We're able to get extra attacks with the rush. In that game, we just used the 9k to clear his body so that I wouldn't be scared of dying. And then set up a Lilith to close the game out next turn. Alright, going into game 3 here. I believe he's choosing to go first. I like going second anyway. But I mean, for Red, it makes sense that they go first, since you saw when he wins is like going first instead of that Agunimon potentially, right, I guess. And there's the Aguni. Pretty good. Once again, I don't have a rookie, but once again, Eyesmon Scattermon only costs 4. It feels totally fine to just hard play. He's gonna set up the analog, so he's got, pretty much the full combo. And so there's a Kuya as well. Very, very scary stuff. We'll have to try and memory choke him. Eyesmon dies, draw 3, see what we could discard. Maybe some Nidhoggs, maybe some Eyesmons. I don't know, man. Hey, that's 1, that's 2, that's, pretty broken opener. Honestly, like, when I play against purple and they do this, I'm like, well, it's like really, really good chance we are losing this game. So being able to play it myself, it feels kind of nice because I've never really done it. But I also, like, as I do it, I'm like, this shit is not fair, right? I'm super glad that the Eyesmons have been restricted. It's such a strong card, and like I said, pretty borderline broken. So we go into a dog, we have the analog, so we can, do memory shenanigans. He goes into the Ancient, check in. Although I think that should have only been 2 because it was a Gazmon, not a Flamemon, right? So small misplay on my part. I just assumed that Ancient Grey always checks for 3, but it should have only checked for 2 there, right? Then he goes into the Aguni to pass turn. He's gonna essentially just memory choke me to 1, which is a pretty good play. Knowing that he only needs to do 3 more attacks essentially. But in this case, this is like the classic, okay, you put the Lilith player at 1, but they're going to do a lot more than just spend 1 memory, right? So let's see what we can do with this turn. We have an Eyesmon, a Cerberus, and a Gassi. The Demimera is gonna give me, draw this card for sure, but we have to be careful about how we want order of attacks. I think, we're not trying to win this turn. So it's a matter of trying to maybe clear some of the stuff with Deathclaw so I don't doubt shenanigans next turn. And then essentially try and set up so that we can win next turn, I think is the idea here. I mean, there might be a world where we can win this turn, but it's very unlikely. My one is 9,000. It hits into a Takuya, which is awful, just terrible. Just very, very sad news for us. Gasly swings, the Gasly does die. We can draw and discard. Nidhogg, again, you give the Lilith player 1 memory, but really they have much more to work with. So now we have 2 memory to work with, but the fact that we hit into Takuya is super, super scary. Okay, Dog's gonna swing, hits into an Atomic, which is, well, bad to say the least, right? So now I really think he is gonna have +1 security next turn, which means that it's much more likely that we die next turn. Spend 1 on the Deathclaw, but we have Analog, so we gain the memory right back, and then we can do the Cerberus on deletion, draw 2 this card. Discard a Lilith, we were able to, hatch again, which is very good. We have 2 memory to work with. I think if I had another Deathclaw, we would just obviously Deathclaw. But we don't, so I'm like, okay, what is the play where we don't die next turn? What can I do to make it so I don't die? And then next turn we will surely have game one way or another, right? So I think the idea here is that at 2 memory we could just try and memory choke him. If I don't give him 2 memory, then he won't be able to hybrid or the Kuya. He can always Emperor me, but such is life. And Gazi could at least stop shenanigans from like Gravity Crush or something like that. Now the Flamon has security attack +1, but it's only 2,000. So if it swings, he might still die in the first check. And there's also a chance that he doesn't have the Emperor Greymon for the Blitz finisher anyway. So I feel like with this play, it's likely that we survive. Although we could obviously still die this turn. But we've done enough shenanigans, discarded enough Nidhoggs and Eyesmons. And I don't think we even really went into Lilith, except for that one game where like we had already pretty much won that game, right? So he swings for 2 checks, hits into a Jack Raid, which is going to pass his turn. And that's going to be game. Anyway, that's Lilith for you. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching.